All right, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Save the Track Bike, presented by the Bicyle Broker. I'm your host, Josh. On today's episode, I have Team Meow from Denver, Colorado, which is where I'm based. They put on underground races. They always include a fixed gear category. We talk about the Lookout Mountain Challenge. We talk about the crit that's coming up this weekend, which is the Halloween Havoc, which is not only a crit, but also a cross race and an alley cat. So if you're in Denver, definitely make it out. Let's just jump to it.
Hi, I'm Malcolm.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Roman.
And so what is Team Meow?
Team Meow. I would say we're a collection of hood rats that wants to throw fun bike races and events for everybody.
So I would say that Team Meow is rooted in the idea that a bike race should be fun, free, a party, and as much beer as you can consume.
I concur.
That sounds heretical to me. Everything should be really boring and structured.
Yeah. There is actually no fun at our bike races.
That's good.
Nobody has a good time.
There's also no structure, too.
There is no structure. Often that is the case. You see a lot of people trying to throw stuff that has too much structure. And that's when it becomes a little tedious and repetitive, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, so how did Team Meow get started? And how did you guys get involved?
We started Team Meow, I want to say in 2014, kind of after our homie Jeff Morris had a bandit cross race at Globeville Park. It was at 8 o'clock in the morning. There was 5 of us that raced. It snowed. There was maybe 3 or 4 spectators, and it was probably one of the best events I've been to be perfectly honest.
I think the reason it was the best event is there were 5 people that raced, and it was at 8 in the morning, and I think that there was 8 bottles of champagne for the 5 racers so we could make mimosas. So there was a lot of mimosas consumed.
You can tell where our motivation comes from.
Yes.
Booze.
So that would have been probably, 2013?
It was 14.
Okay.
It was 14 because then we, right on the tail end of that, we had...
Birthday?
we had I don't know what the hell it was called, the
Cut.
Stapleton Bandit Cuddy Cross Championships, Kitty. Yeah,
Yeah. So we threw a race on my birthday, both because we wanted to throw a race, we found a really cool course, and we're like, hey, whether it's a practice for people who want to come out for a real cross race, whether it's people who want to ride their bikes in the mud. It's going to be my birthday. It's December. It's going to be 50 degrees in Colorado because that's what happens here. So let's throw a cross race. And 25 people showed up.
Yeah, I think 13 racers, the rest spectators. Found a random course in Stapleton that's now since been built over with yuppie boxes. But
like the one we're in.
but y'all got a tub. Y'all got a pool. It's spring break. Those things are okay.
It's all right. We can barely afford our yuppie box. So.
Well, it probably wasn't built on the graveyard of a bandit cross course. So that's probably okay. That's okay.
It's on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah.
And I think, Jacob, just to clarify, when you say build a course, what do you mean?
Us becoming friends, a huge aspect of that, a huge part of us hanging out and getting this going was us riding
deer paths, if you will. There's deer.
Well-trodden urban trails.
Yes.
I like that, yeah.
Which are open to anybody of all classes.
Yes.
And so that's, I think, where kind of the inspiration and motivation of this came from was just like riding your bike in random places, not on the street, just, I don't know, anywhere that you're able to get a little loose at, you know. And so that's where that Stapleton course came from. We found it. There was barriers already there. There was features already there. There was a river crossing, and we all just implemented it into the race. So building it, not so much. Finding and taking advantage of a good undeveloped chunk of land in Denver, more so.
Yeah, so I became aware of you guys from the Lookout Mountain Challenge, and I think Sunday Strong, they had a fixed gear section like one year.
We always have different categories.
Yeah.
Single speed fixed gear being one, and Sunday Strong has been a really strong, like, they've helped, they've pushed, they've come out, they've ridden and ran. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what is the inspiration for doing like races like that and having people ride fixed gear bikes or whatever bikes they want to be on? Like what's the impetus behind that, or why is that important to you?
Do you mind if I say something?
Absolutely, go.
Well, I'll preface two things.
This is young Roman. He's going to be taking the reins of this.
Young Roman. First off, I came on to Team Meow most recently. Probably about a year ago, I started getting involved in just helping out, setting up courses, throwing races. I first also discovered Team Meow at the Lookout Challenge in the first one, which was in 2014 or 2015? 2015.
15, yes, definitely.
Spring of 2015. And it's the Lookout Challenge, if you don't know, is a cross between a hill climb and an alley cat all in one. And it's a blast. So you should all come out. But that was my first Team Meow event. And what really drew me to this group and this style of bike riding is the fact that I could show up in any gear, on any bike, on any day, and still feel extremely welcomed and like I was part of the family that I didn't really know. There's a fantastic crew of great bike folks that always show up to these cool races, and it's very, very what's the word? Inclusive, definitely. But it's also very, there's a hippie word I'm looking for.
Ahimsa.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely it, probably.
Not mistake. I don't know.
Yeah, inclusive and, man,
Edit that part.
No, I get it. Well,
it's cool.
I get what you're saying,
It's a
and I
conversation,
think, and that's kind of why I asked, because I think that a lot on this podcast is like, I mean, it's a track bike podcast, but we rarely talk about track. We're usually talking about fixed gear crits or any other kind of crazy race, and I just think that like the thing I like about it is doing something that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, as the governor here, all of these are sanctioned. We have lots of permits. As the lawyer, we have approval of the city.
State Farm is there.
State Farm, like a good neighbor. But that's the point, though.
No, absolutely. It's always been a fantastic time. But to me, like, you don't need a beautiful cross bike. You don't need a fancy crit racing road bike to go out and have fun with your friends and still push yourself to be stronger or faster, or just for the sake of, having a good time. There's a really good thing that happens at these races that doesn't happen everywhere else. And it doesn't give, even me personally, I still don't want to go out and race a cross race or a crit and have to spend, $100 per race to get licenses and race entry fees and all this jazz just to show up, and then have to, work your way up this makeshift totem pole to be with the fast guys, if you will. I would rather be able to go out with my friends for a race and have a fantastic time, still pushing yourself. You can still be competitive. It's absolutely in the same realm, just easier, accessible to everybody all the time. And that's, I think, something that Denver specifically lacks, and a lot of places around the world are have always had this underground cycling scene, yet never quite took hold to the general public. And I think now it's becoming cool again, or still, or also. But yeah, there's something about the accessibility that cannot be touched by real cycling racing.
I think that's it seems to be growing a lot too, and you can kind of really see it in the kind of the adventure cycling side of things, or like races like Transamerica or Transcontinental, or that Silk Mountain road race that just happened, and it seems like people are hungry for something that is more so like to challenge themselves and have adventure and have experiences, but aren't necessarily like, they don't give a shit enough to be doping and, trying to make hundreds of millions of dollars and beat the other guy. Like, it's kind of just like, just about being on a bike. I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I never really was into I grew up racing BMX, and that was pretty structured, but although I was racing, like, the training was just riding around with your friends and building dirt jumps and
yeah. No, that's the best part. I mean,
and I think that's like, then in my 20s it was just riding down Spear as fast as you can, like blocking a whole lane with like 20 other people. And I think that is, I think that's way more attractive and interesting.
Yeah. I think that sense of community
Yeah.
is really what we've tried to build or want to build.
And I think we've been fairly successful at that. We've had this conversation before about what works and what doesn't work about these events and like the cycling community in Denver and like what we do. And I think it's like a pretty obvious and well-known fact that like Denver, Colorado, very cliquey. It's like, I only ride mountain bikes. I only ride full suspension mountain bikes.
Yeah.
I am like a messenger, and I only do alley cats. I only ride track bikes, roadies. Like, it's like there's like this sense that you have to like pick one, stick with it, and like rep it until you die. Like, we're totally not about that. Bring any bike, any person, you don't need the fanciest kit. You don't need the fanciest bike. It doesn't matter. We'd rather people on weird random bikes come out and race. We've had fat bikes race to Lookout. Like, I mean, if that's not a fuck you to like...
That dude on the penny farthing came out and did like rode to the start. He rode to the start of Lookout on a penny farthing. Like,
I saw a dude going up Lookout the other day on a unicycle, and I was just
dude, we love that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's rad. I mean, I think it's I mean, I was definitely one of those like only track bike people, like in my early 20s, like pretty much. I was just like track bikes only.
I think we all were. I mean, right?
And then I remember the first time like I actually like rode a road bike and I was descending and I was like, oh, this is really fun.
I understand.
There's something to be said about this. Like, descending on a track bike's fun too, but in a different way. I mean, you're not like going all out.
It's like a roller coaster where you might, but you don't know.
Yeah. So let's talk about the events that Team Meow does, and specifically the one that's coming up, which is kind of the impetus for you being here now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the Halloween. There's a Halloween crit coming up in Denver.
Saturday, the 27th of October, we're having a fixed gear crit at Wash Park. It's going to be rad. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be righteous. And everyone should come out. It is not just a fixed gear crit. If you have a road bike, if you have a cross bike, you should come anyway. It's going to be a great time. Everyone's going to have a stellar experience. Sunday, the 28th, we're having the penultimate cross race that Team Meow hosts, I would say, at this point. It's been in the same location of Northside Park
Yep.
for the past 3 years, and always draws an amazing crowd, fantastic people, costumes highly encouraged, and it's going to be a blast. It's a really cool DIY cutty cross race. Any bike welcome, any bike doable, absolutely.
Track bikes, come out.
Yes, absolutely.
You'll be fine, and you'll have fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a real great time, and that is on Sunday. And then our friends at Confluence Couriers are throwing an Alley Cat on Halloween, Wednesday the 31st. That should be a fantastic time as well. And all three together makes for a pretty stellar Halloween week. Show up, race your bike for fun. I want to race, and I don't like racing.
Or show up and hammer if you want. I mean, we've got a place for everybody here. Like, if that's your thing, you want to show up in your kit and try to get first place, more power to you. That's super awesome. We love you. If you want to show up in your wildest outfit on a goofy bike and have a rad time not racing super hard, we love you even more. That's rad too. Anybody in between, more than welcome.
I'm curious about the crit. Is it at night?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming it just is on the road around the park.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
So yes, as the lawyer, it is sanctioned and is at night.
Yeah.
It's at night. It's at 9:00, right? Ish. Check it.
Yeah. Meet at Reg at 9. Registration at 9.
So it's 9:00. It's on the road. Depending on what we have to do, sometimes we modify some barriers because there's the pylons.
Don't hit those.
We don't hit those, yeah. The number of laps will be determined by who shows up. And it's it's at night, so lights are strongly encouraged just for safety. We are not the kind of people who are like, oh, take your brake off, or Jeffrey Christ, you're disqualified from Wolfpack Hustle because you don't have a helmet. Like, we encourage safety things, but we're not USAC. So 9:00, show up at Wash Park for shenanigans.
And that's $10. That's $10 for open, and most of it's going back to the winner. And then free for women, trans, and non-binary. We're just trying to get as many people out here as possible. Any section of people, any group of people who feels like they're not, I guess, I don't know what the word.
Adequately represented?
Yeah. Anybody who feels like they're not represented within the Denver cycling scene, within the cycling scene in general, come out. Like, we have a space for you. Like, absolutely.
Yeah. And this is the Wash Park race, right? We didn't do this last year, did we?
No, we didn't.
So we skipped this. We took this over from our good friends Jeff and Jeffrey, and we did it 2 years ago. Bijou's even catered it. Bijou's Little Curry Shop catered it. We had
Avery.
Avery sponsored us. They've been a good supporter of Lagunitas. We've had lots of people that have been really supportive. It just it ebbs and flows, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we're trying to figure out what the magic formula is, because we love this town and we love bikes and we love our friends. So
and more people have to feel that way too.
Yeah.
So
no, it's still a race. It's still a priority. Like, people have to want to come out, and I think we're really pushing for everybody to want to come out, because sure, it's what we want, but it's what everyone deserves, to be honest. Everyone deserves to have a chance to, push themselves or try a little harder. Either it's winning a race or, something, whether it's here or at a sanctioned cross race. You're going to have the same feeling at the end if you win. It's the truth. But, when you're out here, we want to welcome you. We want to have a community, have a friendship, have a base of folks that want to come out and do this kind of thing, because it can keep going forever if the people want it. And I think the people do want it. I think we just got to get the word out and make sure it's going to happen.
So I kind of want to talk about, is there a plan to do the Lookout Mountain Challenge again this spring?
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of listeners that aren't in Denver and not in Colorado. Why should they come out and come do that race?
Ooh.
Like, let's get people, like, you know.
Well,
I think Denver Lookout Mountain is just such a fun ride. It has a history of so much cycling, and I personally would just love if people came out and rode up it on track bikes or whatever other bike. So yeah, let's like pitch to people why they need to come out in the spring, and if you have a date already, like let's just throw it out there now.
So, go.
well, I'll just say, one, do y'all have mountains where you live? I mean, that should be your priority number one. Like, come out and ride something you've never ridden. It's tall. It's hard a little bit.
It's close to So
You ever
like,
ridden Lookout, Jacob?
Never.
never. So Lookout Challenge was our first non-cross race, and it started with an idea of this really famous track bike shop in Denver that caters to messengers, caters to the track community, called the Track Shack. And Track Shack 5 was, as Kurt announced, you go to the top of Lookout and you're finishing at the high dive. And so people came out expecting an alley cat, and the race was a hill climb in the city. And so no one knew what they were getting into. Unfortunately, Kurt and the Track Shack decided to fold. He's doing awesome. He's got a great family now. And that was the race that made me fall in love with Denver, my city, and track bikes. I was on like a 53-17 ratio going up a hill. And when myself and Jacob were like, let's expand and do alley cats and crits, we decided to, with their blessing, do this same race. What makes, in my opinion, and I'll let these guys talk too, but what makes that race so fun is Lookout Challenge is beautiful, it's hard, but it's doable. You see everybody out on this mountain on a beautiful day, but it's an accomplishment. And so that was our first kind of jump into road bikes, track bikes, any bike goes, but we're on the road, and it's an alley cat, it's a hill climb, but you're not going to get lost if you don't know this city, because there's only a couple ways to get there, there's only a couple ways to get back. It starts with a party and it ends with a party. And if you can't get back, someone's going to be there to make sure you do. So it's inclusive, it's fun, and Denver is welcoming to people who are wanting to have fun. So it'll be in the spring. It was our first race. We did it. We filmed the video in the early spring, and it was in the rain and the snow, and usually it's a nice day, but you never know what the weather in Colorado is. But it is your excuse to come to Colorado. And if you have never been here, come out to your first Team Meow event, come out to Colorado, visit some friends. We'll put you up.
Yeah, if we're not friends now, we will be afterwards, you know?
Well, and that's the point of Team Meow, right? If we're not, if I don't know you before my race, like, we'll be friends after.
Cool. Is there anything else we need to touch on before?
Yeah, I think there are too many people that are seemingly excluded from the cycling world. Maybe not actively, but it's hard to feel comfortable. Like, it took me a long time to feel comfortable riding a bike with my friends in Denver even. And I think I love to create a space that people want to show up to and want to ride their bike. It's a great time. I mean, I started riding bikes, racing bikes with Team Meow before I knew them. And I heard about it from a friend of a friend and showed up, and I had a great time, and it hurt a lot, and I was last, but it was one of the best days of my life because I
I'm
got the
fully
chance to do
planning
it.
on getting last in the fixed gear crit, so
Definitely.
that's my goal.
I am racing this fixed gear crit, and I've
Yeah.
never raced a fixed gear crit in my life.
I did the Velorama one like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
With
and I
Scott.
was way under geared. It was I was in. It was my first crit ever, and I was on like a 48-16 or something. I was like spun out and immediately got dropped. So, but it was still so fun, and I think that that's one of the things I like to cover on this podcast is that the cool thing about like fixed gear and track bikes is they're affordable. The community is welcoming, so you can show up on a steel bike that's 25, 30 pounds and nobody's going to make fun of you. And you're just going to come out and race and it'll be great.
Yeah.
And I
You
think
have
that's
some
like,
friends afterwards.
yeah. And I think that's what's rad about like the mentality of your races and stuff is like, and that's why I wanted to have you guys on is just making cycling accessible because like more people on bikes, like Denver especially, we have the problem of it's growing so fast. There's fucking cars everywhere. The more people we can get on bikes, commuting, not driving, like it's just better for everyone. And also it's just fun. And I think that sometimes like fun is just a good enough reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, come out, have fun. You'll see people in spandex on $10,000 bikes. You'll see people on first gen Bianchi Pistas. You'll see people drinking champagne. You'll see people doing butt crunching.
Oh yeah.
You'll see your best friend in a dress. You'll see your best friend in a kit.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Where can people find more information?
Basically, as of now, our Facebook and Instagram is basically the go-to for races, announcements, all that kind of stuff. We're working a little bit harder now to try to get things on the social media aspect like a little bit more running, a little bit more steam behind it. I was gone for a year. I was living in the San Luis Valley. Malcolm's got things going on with his life. Same with Roman. Same with everybody, really. So it almost was a hiatus this past year. I can't speak for both of these two dudes, but I've got a real fire under me to keep these events going and to like further I guess our place in Denver's cycling scene. And as I see it, as far as I'm concerned, there's not a whole lot going on otherwise.
We're back, baby. We're back.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
perfectly
It was-
fine being the ones that are doing it for the city, at least for right now.
Yeah.
You know,
So Team Meow on Facebook and Team Meow on Instagram. Jacob, do you want to
Team Meow 303
Yeah,
on
Team-
Instagram.
Team Meow 303 on Instagram, and then on Facebook,
666.
666 would be the
ending
backslash.
number,
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us,
man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, that does it for another episode of Save the Track Bike. Thank you so much to Team Meow for coming on. So visit us on Instagram at Save the Track Bike. Go to SaveTheTrackBike.com. Shout out to our sponsors at the Bicyle Broker. The music is Slag Girl by Vitamin Pets. See you next time.